The meaning of bulk loading and continuous loading. Let's have a look. So when we talk about, when we are engaging the commands by which you are copying the data, very huge amount of very frequent data where you are loading. Okay, so the frequent method, you can also say that this bulk loading is, and this bulk loading consists of, when we use the warehouse where we are, loading the data, we required a huge amount of data. That is something we wanted to do that. So then we talk about the bulk loading. So bulk loading in Snowflake is the most frequent method. Okay, in this, when we talk about, when we talk about this bulk loading. So bulk loading comes with the process in which, in which we are utilizing the warehouses, and apart from that, we actually can do some transformation on the top of it. So it is the most frequent method. Okay, and it uses warehouse when we do a bulk loading, and we can load the data. Whenever we load the data, we put that data into stages of Snowflake. So we are loading from stages. So once we create the stages, wherever the staging data will be there, so we're loading from stages here, right? And then we copy in from the stages that data, copy the stages, right? So this is something we do, and because of that, uh, you know, like uh, uh, because of that, the transformation, is possible. So here, when we talk about the transformation, so there are different way of transformation is also possible in bulk loading. So we prepare the data in this. Okay, the process of bulk loading is first we prepare the data. Okay, we prepare the data. We prepare the data, whatever the data is available, either in CSV, Parquet, JSON. Okay, then after preparing the data, we create a stages for that. We will create a staging area where the data will be there. So we prepare a staging area, and staging I will be discussing in detail. Staging actually are two types of staging that we will see. One is internal or external. Okay, external. So in this, you will store your data files. Okay, either in internal or external, you will store your data file. Once you are done with creating stages, then you will copy the data. So then you will copy data. Okay, so whatever data is there, and then once the data is copied, then you going to look after your monitoring, monitor your load. So you will monitor your load, whether to check using monitor copy history, like if what is the stuff has been done. So you will look around the table copy history that has taken up the data. So this is the technique that we use in bulk loading. Any question?
Copy the data to where?
Huh?
Copy the data to warehouse
No, stages.
stages. Then you
We
monitor
we
the load.
create stages. We create two types of stages, either internal or external stages. Okay. So basically, we load the data. First of all, we prepare, data. So if the data is available either in any format, so the staging area we define. So we will define here like create or replace my staging area and the staging area, and then in that you will put the file location, and then you will put into stages, and then you're going to load the data inside that staging area. Let's say we will talk about this. Let's say you are using AWS. So in AWS, you have given the location of the path. Okay, then you are asking to put your staging area over there. So you will give the URL and the access of credential. Let's say if you are using S3, so you will be giving the access of S3. Getting my point?
Yeah. Then the data gets copied to staging area.
Yeah, and then you will copy. So then from your table you will be copying the data. So from the data, and then you will, it will processing the data. So it will copy into that. So it will then copy into Snowflake table. Got it? So that is called bulk loading, right? Whereas in continuous loading, you know what we do? In continuous loading, it is designed to load a small volume of data. Okay. This is designed to load a small volume of data. Okay. You know, what is the continuous loading? You can also say that. So basically, continuous loading is, when we talk about continuous loading, so continuous incoming data, any incoming data when you're getting for any continuous process. Okay, Snowflake support different methods. Okay, for continuous loading. So that is being used using Snowpipe. So Snowpipe, or you can use, this is the streaming concept of Snowflake. Okay, like, or we can use, instead of Snowpipe, we can use streaming integration using Kafka. Streaming integration using Kafka. Okay. So basically, when you talk about Snowpipe, okay, Snowpipe allow automatic loading of data into Snowflake as soon as files are uploaded to a cloud storage location. Okay, so Snowpipe, if I just tell you here,
So Deepesh, this Kafka is not a native feature of a Snowflake, right?
right,
So
you have to
how is
integrate.
it done? Okay,
Hmm?
is it through Snowpark
Yeah,
program? It has to be done. Okay.
you need to, if you are using Snowpipe, then you need to create the Snowpipe feature over there. If you are using any REST API or any, like using Kafka, so you need to set up a Kafka connector. So what you will do that for a real-time Snowflake integration with Apache Kafka. So there are some connectors of Snowflake. I'll come on that and then I'll tell you.
Okay.
So basically, there are some Snowflake Kafka connector. So that will allow you to do streaming data. So let me just tell you why first Snowpipe, that what is
Okay.
Snowpipe and how does it work, and then I'll talk about that. So basically, when you're talking about Snowpipe, so Snowpipe allow automatic Snowpipe allows automatic loading of data into Snowflake as soon as files are uploaded to a cloud storage location. Okay, so this is useful when you have a continuous data or incremental file uploads. So when you talk about how to create or how to use SnowPy, I'm just telling you just, so for this you need to first create a stage. We will create a stage. We'll create a stage here. Okay, so you will, stage means you will be either internal or external stage you will be creating. Let's say if it's a internal stage or external stage, so you will create or replace your file. You will put your URL. You will put your URL like this is my stage area, and then URL you will be putting here whatever your S3 location, and then you will uh, create a snow pipe here. Then you will create a snow pipe. You will create a snow pipe. Okay. So once you create a snow pipe, then you will, going to copy inside that. And so you will copy into my table from. from your my stage and then the file format, whatever it is. So it will create the file format and then you can integrate with any cloud event notification. So basically cloud storage S3, Azure have event notification. Okay. So there is some event notification also there of those. You can either integrate with that, means if any event notification you wanted to look around it. So it will eliminate the manual intervention. Otherwise, you need to look around these things. So either like if you're aware of AWS Lambda, okay, so Lambda notification you can enable. So the REST API will actually indicate. Or other way, if you don't want to use this event, you can use the monitor of Snowpipe load. So you can monitor Snowpipe loads. Yeah. So by using pipe uses history, by using pipe uses history, you can actually understand that. So that is the way of using Snowpipe. Okay. But if I consider this for Kafka, I consider this for Kafka. So for Kafka, okay. So for Kafka, we have to use a Snowflake Kafka connector. Kafka connector. Okay. So basically this will allow you to streaming data from Snowflake real time. So you will have to first set up a Kafka connector, then you need to stream data through Snowflake. First, Kafka connector, then stream data to Snowflake. And then what all the things you will consider in bulk consideration when you wanted to do. So the consideration you need to take like when you used to was these things. So just let me quickly tell you. So the consideration, if I tell you, consideration will be. So basically, when the file size means, consider if you are using a file between 100 MB and 1 GB, for using files. In between, you can use that. File size for optimal performance, you can actually look around it. Error handling, when you're getting, it means if you're using, like in staging, we use an error process. Then also instead of, any low durability of data, it is there, then you can actually use. So there are some certain scenarios where you can use it. So if we want to bulk load every hour and wanted to handle the continuous update or insert throughput on a day, then you use copy into. You can use copy into, or otherwise you can wanted to like in a certain period of time, you with the help of Snowpipe, there you can also use that. But when you have a low amount of data, then you go through this continuous loading. So continuous loading allow, the latest result of analysis. It automatically added to the stages, and with the feature of Snowpipe, you can utilize it. So that is about the different techniques of data loading. That is bulk loading and continuous loading. Got the point? Yes. So now we'll be going to talk about stages in uh, Snowflake. So what is stages in Snowflake? We'll be discussing. So basically, as I mentioned, uh, like once you load the data, you load the data you into certain place, okay, and like here when we actually process the data, and in the meantime when we are processing the data has to be accessed from certain location, okay, and that is what we call stages. Basically, we should not confuse ourselves using data warehouse, or data warehouse stages, because stages are nothing but from where the data is getting ingested, and then we are placing our file over there, right? So we are copying into that. So location of data files where data can be loaded from. Okay. So that is something we can understand in terms of stages, right? So stages are a kind of a place where we can actually put the data. We can actually access the data from certain place. So there is a two types of stages that will be also going to access. But stages are the intermediate storage location, you can also call it, used to hold the data file before they are loaded, okay, from Snowflake tables. So we can write it. So that is, so we can call it, it's an intermediate file, intermediate storage locations used to hold data files before they are loaded into or unloaded from Snowflake. So that is called stages, where they can, it's kind of a play as a very crucial role for data ingestion. So this plays a role as a data ingestion, because when you are doing data ingestion, okay, for extraction process or any efficient data user management, stages is the way that is helping us to optimize data workload. Okay, so that is the data stages actually work for us, a kind of a intermediate storage. You should not confuse the with data warehouse stages, because data warehouse stages, the location of data files where the data can be loaded from. Okay, and this is the intermediate storage. That is something you can look around it. Now the stages are of two types. Okay, one is the external stage and another one is the internal stage. So any idea? What do you mean by external internal stage?
Outside of Snowflake and inside Snowflake.
Yeah, I mean, see, of course, that's the meaning, but we can understand this way. So, uh, like, if I talk about, the internal stages, so internal stages are the stages that is being managed by the Snowflake. Um, you know, um, Managed by Snowflake means, when we talk about, like, the detailed process of, you know, the technique by which, we store the data into Snowflake account itself. So the they ideally prefer when handling the data storage inside the Snowflake only. So the internal stages are the one which is being managed by Snowflake itself. Like uh, if I give you one example, so external or internal. So that's a local storage. The local storage maintained by Snowflake, right? So when it's maintained by Snowflake, so internal stages are residing in our Snowflake account itself. So, whenever we wanted to prefer only the storage of Snowflake itself, then you can use it. So, like, you can put the file, you can put the description of your, stages over there, and then the entity can be shown to us. So, like, if you wanted to create an internal stages, you just have to mention like this. So, create or replace stage. So stage is an object in your SQL. So here in the file format, you can mention type, you can field and then delimiter or whatever it is, you can actually you can name the storage. And then from your like the path file, you can put like from your path file could be your my internal storage stages. There you can actually look around it. So that is something called the internal stages process, where you can actually create the internal stages. When coming back to the external stages, so if we talk about the external stages, so external stages reference the data stored outside of Snowflake. Okay. So what are the places the Snowflake actually can store the data? So the external stages can be any external cloud provider, like any external cloud provider.
Can be on-premise?
Uh,
Can it be
like
on-premise?
on-premise, I did not understand on-premise. External means external. It could be anywhere. Like it could be in S3, AWS, it could be in GCP, could be in Microsoft Azure, any
These all
database. Yeah, means any Oracle database.
okay. Actually, on-premise is also there.
Yeah. Okay. Created a schema. You can create a stages URL access setting. That is how you create the stages. So how we create this? We create this way. We create a stage URL access setting. That is how we actually look around it. So that is the way. Okay. And we define the, this. If I go a little bit more in detail about the external state, so you have to, if we are talking about S3, okay, so the S3 processes we create like this. So we actually going to create a stage. My stage 3 will be create here your or replace kind of this way, and we'll be writing the name, then URL from your the bucket name, basically the bucket name and the path, the credentials you will be mentioning, credentials. Okay, this is the credentials you will be mentioning, and the file format. So the file format is also there. So file format you are going to mention here. That is the way you will be able to put the data and able to create your stuff. Similarly, you can do for like you can read the data and you can read the data to the stages over there. One more type of stages are that's called temporary stages. Any idea what is temporary stages? So temporary stages are the session specific. Okay, so it's a session specific and exist only for the duration of a user session.
It's like PySpark data frame.
Kind of. So they are, when you're ad hoc data loading or unloading tasks you're doing, then you can use that. Like how we create it. So when you have a temporary, you can define the temporary stage here. So temporary stages, it's for the only specific for the session that you are using. Okay. So how we define this? We define like this way. We create temporary page like my temp page. The file format will be going to type the file format. Okay, and you will put file location, path of file, path to file at the rate my temp stage. So that is your command to write it. So that is the way we create it. For the point.
Deepesh, these temporary stages, they're kind of deleted after some time.
Yeah. So it's going to be deleted. It's just a temporary. So it's a session specific only.
Okay. So, so when the session is closed, these will be deleted. Unlike the stages, right? So
Hmm?
they won't get deleted, correct? So the stages are kind of permanent. Can we call that as? Um, or it's a
You
kind
have to
of
delete.
truncated
You
code.
have
So
to delete the other stages, internal, external, something. Whereas temporary stages, the session is specific. So when we talking about the temporary stages, so temporary stages are like kind of like the data files to be loaded into this the temporary stages are specific for the internal stage only. But it's a whenever you have a transition data operations you are happening like a single session usage session, it is like this. So unlike the permanent stages that we create, the temporary stages automatically drop after the end of the session. So there is
okay.
no residual data per se beyond this the session that you are using. It's just a session specific.
So it's still an internal stage, but it's temporary.
Yeah.
We need to call that out explicitly when we are using it
Yeah.
the way you. Okay. Session specific. So these stages, what will be the form of storage? It's in the file or on the DB
In a table format,
in a
you
table
are
format?
copying into table now. I mentioned. So once you
Great.
create a stages is just nothing but it's an object inside the Snowflake. Okay. Inside that stages, you are copy. You do copy. So copy is a command that will allow you either it's a CSV file or something or any file. It will create a table inside that stage.
Okay.
Yeah. So it will be a stage inside the database. In the database, you will see there is a column will created as stages. Inside the stages, it will be like your table.txt or sorry, table, and inside this table, the the format. Then you can see the all the files here, like the databases you have seen that.
It's a DB object basically.
Yeah, it's a DB object. So stages are a object inside the Snowflake that is being created like any other
Hello,
schema. Yeah.
hello, Dipesh. I
Mhm.
think when we copy file right to stages, the file only get copied to the stage of Snowflake, right? And
Mhm.
we can see that file in a tabular format, right? But I think it's
Mhm.
still not very sure, but I think still it is a file in stage. But yeah, we can see that file data in a tabular format. Is my understanding. I can be wrong about it, but yeah.
What you say? Can you come again once again? What you are
I'm
saying?
saying, yeah, when we are copying the file to Snowflake stage, right? So it's stored as a stage, as a file, sorry. Right? It's not stored as a table. We can query that file as a table, but still it is a file, not table is what I think.
So basically what happens when you are actually copying the file from the external sources wherever you have. So basically what happened, the type of copy operation you are doing, let's say you are uploading file to a stage by put command or, so when you're putting that. So what happened when you're loading the data to a stages table, like copy into table, so you can actually prepare the output format in table. So what copy of stages you wanted to do that, like the file format you can define also. So that's something you can do that inside this. So like from wherever the location you are taking the data, using put command, let's say whatever the format you have, let's say data.csv or something like this. So it's create a table according to my understanding into a table basically. So it's the stage into a table basically, loading data from a stage into a table of Snowflake.
Yeah. So stored in the file.
Hmm.
So I'm just confirming that in stage it is still a file, and yes, we load that stage data to a table of Snowflake.
That's what I'm saying. No? Stage table of Snowflake.
But in stage, it is a file or it's table.
Stage is a file.
Okay. What all file formats are allowed in the stage of Snowflake?
What?
What file formats are allowed in stage Snowflake? In
You
what
can
file
use
formats can we save the
CSV, you
files?
can use Avro, you can use uh, uh, it's you can say that it's kind of a file. You can say stage is a storage location. Are you getting my point? I will not say it's not a single
Yeah,
file.
yeah.
It's a storage location basically.
Okay, okay.
So either it's internal to the Snowflake or external to the Snowflake, such as Amazon S3. Amazon S3 is not a file.
Uh-huh.
Rather than it's
Okay.
a storage location. Inside this, you create your tables. So
Yeah, correct.
something like that.
Okay, okay, Dipesh.
So, Dipesh, my one more question is, now we have internal stage and external stage. So in the external stage where we refer to as three bucket, so there we can have the files with a different format. It can be Avro, Parquet, and CSV, etc. So is the internal stage going to be same as the external stage when it comes to storing the files in its own format? Will Snowflake
Yeah, I mean,
store
Snowflake have
those?
their own storage infrastructure. Okay. So within their own storage infrastructure, they create a storage location, okay, in stages, and then you
Mhm.
can read the data inside it.
You can still keep that file in its own format, as in
Inside
Avro,
on
Parquet.
correct,
Is that right? Okay.
correct. You can put the data either CSV file, any micro file, whatever file you have, you can read the data.
Okay, it's just the storage location within Snowflake.
Storage
Like
location, yeah. You can read the data, but it will create the table stage. Then you can describe the data, like either you are reading the data, but it will
that
be
we
into
need
the
to
table.
that
Yeah,
that needs to be unloaded, right? That file needs to
yeah,
be okay. Sorry, loaded into the Snowflake table and can be structured.
correct, correct. That you can do transformation on the top of it. You can do ETL processing. That is the technique that we use, right? ETL can be done on the top of it. Any questions? Okay. we'll do one thing. We'll be going to create a stage. Okay. So that will be better to understand to like create stage. We are creating an external stage. Okay. And created the external stage, then we will load the data from some external data points, and we can quickly see like how we can do that. Something that we should try. Hmm. So we can even we can create the external stage, and with this. I'm just rejoining the session. Actually, my mouse is not working on my laptop, so I'm to restart it. Okay, because if I'm audible,
Your voice is a little feeble.
I'm saying I'm just rejoining. My mouse of my laptop is suddenly not working, so I need to restart my system.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the worksheet. Let's start creating a database. So I'll be going to create a database, brand new database. My screen visible to all of you?
Yes.
So I'm going to create a brand new database, and so they have also given it. Let me try how does this work? Asking. Good. Okay, so let's create that. So here I'm going to create a database. Create or replace database. Manage DB. So this is just a database I'm creating. So the database has been created here. You can see that. And I'm supposed to going to use that manage DB. So right now here there is information schema and public schema. So here I'm going to create an external database. Oh, sorry, stage. So how to create an external stage? Let's have a look. So create or replace schema or external external yeah. So here I'm gonna create. Okay. So here I'm not. So external stages has been created here, right? Now, in this external stage, okay, that has been created here. Now I'm supposed to gonna do one thing. Here, we can have a one thing like how the processing will be taking from the AWS stage. So let's say if I have a Snowflake bucket, okay, and any dummy ID I'll be using, you can use your own, stuff as well as like you can use the, like the actual stages IDs and all that we can use that. Like how we do this, let me just show you. So here, let's say if we have to creating an external stage, and so here we have since created this, but here inside this external stage, I'm creating a AWS stage. So how are we going to do that? So here, that will be like this. So let's create or replace stage. So we are creating this external stage here, and the manage DB inside this external stage, I'm creating an AWS because let's say if we are reading the data from AWS, so I'll be using that manage DB dot external stages dot AWS stage. Okay, so this we have created. Now I'll be going to mention an URL here. So URL could be your URL could be, let's say, your URL could be of your data, bucket file of your S3. So generally the bucket file of S3 consists like this, let's say bucket Snowflake S3, like we have taken up, if you remember, um, you know, the credential, the Snowflake S3. So it's a dummy one. So it's a dummy ID. So here, let's say call bucket, okay, bucket Snowflake S3. So this is, let's say, your URL. You can use that. You all have created your URL now. Oh, sorry, AWS account. You can just create a S3 bucket over there, and you can actually access over there. You can see that how the data is getting loaded over there. You can have a look. Okay, and either credentials. If you have to you have to mention the credentials as well as credentials will be like this. Your AWS key ID, AWS key ID, and you have to can mention your dummy ID. And here will be your AWS secret key. Okay, so this you can replace, you know, this you can replace with your, original one. Yeah, so this will be your credential key. And see, when I'm going to run this, see, this is a dummy ID basically. You bucket Snowflake S3. So this is the dummy ID. And let's see if it's work. S3 buckets. No, let's find this. It's an invalid URL. So let's try with our personal ID. I think this is the ID I have used as in dummy in past. Yeah. So you can see that this stage area in AWS is successfully created. Can you see that? Hello?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Dipesh.
So since it's created in this ID, now we can do one thing. We can actually copy, you can see that once we created this here, uh, you can see that in manage DB, there is the external stage. External stage, and right now, not showing anything, right? AWS stage. So AWS stage, cloud is AWS provider, honor is this. You can have a look. So here, cloud provider, it is mentioned here, US East, one it is mentioned that the Snowflake ID is there. And, this something is supposed to be measured. So if you want to have a look, you can actually explore this in detail. Or you can stages detail here in detail, you can see that. Now, if I show you the description of our external stage, if I just have to show you only the description, I'm just showing you what is available over there. So that is something here. That is managed TV dot external stage at AWS stage. Yeah. So let's have a look. So you can see that the parent property is the stage file format type string CSV. This is the data we have, and you can see that there is stage format auto none. So you can see there are a lot of um, format is there. So you can see that if I the CSV file here also available type, yeah, and this is something the comma. So the data enable directories enable. So yeah, I mean, what we can do now is, we need to make sure that while we are reading the data, means from the any stage location or from wherever the data has been created. This is the AWS EID we mentioned here. You can see that the status credentials are there. But one thing we should look further in our next or discussion, we'll do that because right now we are mentioning the data here, like the key ID here. We can do one more thing. We can stage the data of, we can create a folder or you can say that stage of, your AWS W keys and all into a certain folder. And from there, we'll be reading to access it. Otherwise, it will be kind of a security challenges are there, right? So that we could have done this. And now let's see how this, this credentials that we are making here, like we can create, the external stage. We can set credentials into, in from here, and we can publicly access the staging area to others also. This staging area can be accessed. So here, I can do one thing. See, I can set the credentials, like some other, credentials we can also mention. Let's say if you have to mention the other ID and other credentials you wanted to say, because it is there are no such data are there. So I can alter each and we can set the other credential inside there in AWS system. That can be done. So if I have to alter, I can do like this way. AWS stage, we can set credential, credential, key ID, key ID is ABCD dummy ID na. Similarly, from any, if I have to make sure that I wanted to change it, so I can type, I'll show you. Let's say I wanted to mention here, let's say instead of this XYZ, equal to, you see that here, XYZ domain ID, alter scale AWS stage, credentials. Now you see that here, when we alter it, yeah, so something can be altered. Now, like I wanted to, like from the buckets of file, this is the URL. From this URL, if I wanted to like access the data or I wanted to stage the data here. So here we'll be going to this file will be going to this I'm going to take copy and I will be inside this. I'll show you something. Here I wanted to publicly access the staging area. So this is the staging area from the data we are actually accessing. Manage the staging tunnel. And this is the URL. So here I'll show you. So when I this successfully already is there. Now I will list all the files available inside this. In this, I have to just see what all the files are there. Listing. List is the database. These are the file available here. Can you see that? Loan payment, order details, sample data, CSV. Hello.
Yeah, we can see it.
Huh? So now this is the data we created the stage. Now we will be going to do one thing. We will be going to access the data, any one of the data, and we'll be going to, read the data. We will be copying the data into our, database. Okay. In our first database we had created, our first database here we have created, right? And like we can copy that data either from AWS and we can put inside the AWS staging. Okay, so we can copy into our first database either, or that's something we can do that here. So we have just taken up this data, like I'll show you here. This is my data. Data, right? So this data I'm supposed to gonna read, that is called buckets. Uh, this we need to create a table, I believe. So So we are supposed to gonna take this order detail, right? So I just want to this data we're gonna access. Let me just check first. Yes, so there is order ID. Can you just print this file? Because we need to create a table only. I want to see any one of the file. I'm audible. I'm just sharing this with you. Can you try printing this? I'm just trying to. Okay, I got the uh, this order detail do have few things, and this is the order ID, amount, profit, quantity, category, and subcategory. Hello.
Yeah, Deepesh, we're following.
So this have few thing I got from the internet. So I'm going to create this. Yeah. So here I'm creating the order table, this order detail. So this contain few things. Uh, just a second. So this contain order ID, uh, amount, then profit, quantity, category, and subcategory. Yeah, these are the stuff is there. So let's create this table so we can ingest this data inside this. So we can do what we can create or replace table in our first database. So we are going to create over there. So that is the ingesting table. This is our, so here I'm just going to use that first database dot public dot orders. Okay. Here order ID varchar 30, let's say, and the amount as in point, and the profit is also in int, and quantity and category varchar varchar subcategory is into varchar again 50, and so order ID, amount, profit, quantity, category, subcategory. Yeah. So now here, this is something we gonna create. Yeah, so the order ID is successful. So here you can see that in our first database, we created this public, right? Public dot table, sorry, for database public, there is that.
Deepesh, you created these orders in our first DB, but you created this managed DB database for external stage. They're in
What?
two different DBs, right?
Yeah, because I'm ingesting from that stage inside the table. I will have to
Okay.
copy the data. I'll copy. We are doing a copy here. So how the
No,
copy
you
command?
created this managed DB only to create these external stages. That's it.
Yeah, that is
But
to
you are
create an
copying
external
the
stage.
data. Okay.
Yeah. Now, order consider the order. So let me put inside. So select from public. So this is the data right now. We're going to ingest the data. So we'll be using the copy command. So this will be our first copy command. Okay. We'll be ingesting the staging to. So here, yeah. So I'll be going to read the data into the first public.dp order from the AWS stage where I have staged the data. So the staging has been done from the AWS. Okay. Now I'll be going to copy the data inside this table. Got the point? So for this, we'll be creating the process. Okay. And then, we'll be going to process the items further. So just allow me. We have created this uh, database, sorry, table. Now we're going to, like, since we have created this, we're going to, with the help of copy command, we'll be going to stage from AWS stage and in certain file format. Okay, the data going to be read. And how we gonna do that? So we'll actually look around it. So since okay, so here this is our data. I'm going to I'll be going to copy. So copy into our first database public order from stages into a file format because it is CSV, right? So I'll be going to write, so copy into our first database dot public dot orders. Okay, from from this AWS stage that we created, the file format will be file is equal to CSV field delimiter, right? Skip header equal to. So after we want that the header should be like one skipped. So this is what we created, right? Now, since we created this, I um, like this is something we have taken from this stage is like this from, and this is the file format for us, right? Now, but this data is we have to define, I think this is the from AWS stage I mentioned, but the problem here is this AWS stage we need to define here, that is available into managed DB. This is the managed DB external stage AWS stage. So I need to mention this also. So I need to mention this. That's called from manage ME manage DB manage DB dot external page dot AWS stage, right? And the file format, type, everything is okay. Got the point? This is what we need to do. So once we are done with this, and so here you can see that uh,
Deepesh, we can rerun those commands again to create the external stage in the same database, right?
what?
These external stages, you created it in a separate database. I think we can rerun those scripts to create these external stages in the same database as my first DB or our first
You're
DB.
saying in this stages itself I can create, you're saying, right?
Yeah, so
External stage. But I had already one database that is available in the our first database. So I'm doing what? I'm just copying the stages that I have taken up over there. I'm just putting into the another table. So that is the copy command I'm just trying to tell you.
no, you are again referencing this external stage schema where you have created this stage. So I'm
Yeah.
telling, so can we create this external stage within this DB itself? This our first DB,
We
it is a
can
different
create
DB.
that. We can create that. I'm just telling you that if we have a external stage, then we can either create inside this also.
Okay.
So let's say, yeah, I can do that. But here, just showing you authorized. Why?
Should be external stages from
Yeah,
That's
external stages. The schema name you have created is external stages.
stages as right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Number of columns in file 7.
And if I just see this,
I think there's syntax error
huh?
from AWS stage from.
In this AWS stage, number of column in file 2 does not match the corresponding table 6. It's saying use file format option, error on column count mismatch. Okay. So we can do one thing. So here it is saying the number of column in file is 2, does not match the corresponding table 6. So here it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So what we can do that is, like here we can list the, first of all, what are the external AWS stages. So this is the list, right? We have taken up, right?
But I think we can use this, whatever it is suggested, at error on column count mismatch equals to false. So in that case, it will load only the required data from file.
Let me just see what are the list of. This is right. List file contained in this stages. If I just go with this also. Manage DB external stages. So these are the files we had, and I'm going to do one thing. I'll have to, like in this process of writing this, I need to mention this order detail, file, as in file I need to mention. And the for, this file when I'll mention, I think then it should work. I'll do one thing. Let me, so here it is okay. Because what is happening over there, it has 2, 3 files, right? So we need to specify, we need to copy command with a specific one. So here I'm going to do one thing. Say this, and the file equal to, I think, um, order order details dot csv. Let me try this. So here if I run, what's the problem? Manage db dot external stjs AWS stages. Again, same problem. But this order detail have this much of file only.
I think there is semicolon at file format.
File.
Semicolon at the end of file format line.
Oh, okay. Here. This command.
You need to remove before.
This one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you see that? That has been copied. Row loaded is 1500. Row passed error limit is this. Error screen is this. First line character null. Yeah. Now we are successfully able to load this data. Got it? If you want to have a look, we have in the public order. If you want to have a look, here is your order. Orders. Inside this table has been created or not. Let's have a look. This is the data preview. Can you see that? Under on pencil was here showing us as a preview. Good enough? Understood how to copy the data?
Are there any
Okay.
limitations on the size of the data that can be copied?
What?
Are there any limitations on the size of or volume of the data that can be copied in this way?
Since we are doing the bulk loading here, so I need to check what is the limitation. Yeah, I'm not aware of the exact amount of limitation. And there should be some limitation in a table, I think so. The data that we have. Now you can check. There is no error seen. If I just go to this one, when have we mentioned this?
Not the same steps, but few tweaks I did. Are you able to see my screen?
Yeah.
Just created this exercise DB and created this external stage, the same name in the schema. And I used this S3. I tried with this first, okay. And then later, yeah, the stage, I was able to kind of describe it. And then I just tried listing, but it was not happening. Again, I just followed the same steps to set the credentials with this ID.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
No, okay.
Yeah. But then I was able to, after that only I was able to list the files.
But
You
this
see
is
here.
this is the list of your AWS stages of these two one, right?
Yeah, the one which this is the one, right? The loading data. We have two files here, customers 2
Correct.
and customers 3.
Right.
Okay. And then I created that table structure for customer. And yeah, here the delimiter is semicolon. And I just used this one, customers2.csv, and I was able to, not this, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. Total of 750 records got loaded. You see here.
Easy.
So email, I thought of putting same size, but I think it's more than 30 characters, right? So I just changed it to 100 and loaded the data.
Okay.
Yeah, I also followed the same. And that's the naming. Naming is different of the stage. And as I said, as we said, email was erroring out. So there was more than 30 characters. So I changed that and then loaded the customers to same 750 50 records got loaded.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I think unless and until we change that credential, it doesn't work for me. Also same. I mean,
Yeah, I think this is.
it is to make it public, right? So unless and until we make it
Yeah.
public, it won't come.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is what is the. After that, I think we need to make that public.
Hmm.
Plus stage. So
So you also kept the stage in XSDB only, right, Vijay? I did the same.
yeah, same
Yeah.
external stages. We created again the same stage, like how we created for managed DB, the same stage, AWS stage.
So Deepesh, only changes we did not create the stage in different DB. Instead we created in the same DB.
In the same DB.
Okay.
So good enough. Now we can do transform the data, the top of it. So like you can select, you know, multiple things can be done. So like
You are not sharing the screen. Okay, started.
there is your data and so if you are just selecting, like if I'm audible now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about some of the transformation technique on the top of it. So let's say if I say some of the transformation stuff. So in transformation stuff, let's say I'm just doing the very first that's called select a statement. So let's say if I wanted to select any specific thing, so like I can use, the database. This is my database that is post public dot order. Okay. And uh, so let's say if I'm creating but if I copy into Okay, so here is my data set. Now, if I wanted to copy only, I wanted to select. So here in this order, we had amount and something. Let's say we have this. Where is amount and order. Let's say if I wanted to select any specific one, so I'll do s dot. There is a selecting command called dollar, right? So one and comma s dot to from uh, select from, that is in manage, right? Manage database. This is the name of this. Manage database. Dot external pages dot AWS stage selected. So this is something we have taken up as a data. So first two, column we are selecting, and again, how we are selecting from file, from file format, sorry. This will be the same. These all are the same. I can copy this. Yeah. So you see that if I yeah, so this is something that but again, if I have copied this above. We create a new one, new stages. Let me create a new stage. Let's try this first. Manage NA. Where is an error? 0 to 0 still completion. But showing it insert value does not match column list. Okay. So we wanted to select only two. And so the data is there, means we can select the data, right? So we can select the data, or let's say if I am creating or replace place table our first DB dot public dot
Is this error because the same set of data is already available? That's what it says.
Yes, yes, yes. So the data is there. The same set of data is there. So either I can create a new new one, and so let's say if I given two, the rows has been loaded, the two rows has been loaded. Okay, and so this we have created, and now you can see that data has been loaded here. Now let's say if I wanted to here, so the data I wanted to select from, let's show you, select from first GB orders or first GB dot public. Public. Yeah, can you see that? Only this select column will work in there, like the two columns we have created and we have inserted the data inside that. Yes. Now, so we can do more transformation. Let's say, we can, can have more, like we can have a profit, condition, like we can create amount and, something else as well as something, and then we can find profit. So did you understood how what we have done here? Transformation of selecting the data. Can I get a quick buy in the chat box? Hello. Okay. Now here, let's say if I'm creating another column that's called profit. Profit will be into integer. Okay. And here another column, let's say I'm making full, uh, profit table. I'll just put a flag here that's called flag Parquet into 30. Okay, so this is something that new. We are just replacing the table. That's a order one, order X. Just an example, just showing line 30 profit. Yeah, comma. We created this. Now, if I have to calculate, so I'm going to calculate the conditions, and then we'll put into the table, then we'll copy into the table. So here into the above, so copy into our first order dot X from select. So here in select, we'll make changes here. Select the row column first, because we are finding profit. So we are just selecting all these profit columns and all. That is S dot to S dot 3. Okay. And what we are supposed to gonna do, we'll be going to cast the profit S3 as an integer. This profit is itself an integer, but and then the condition we have to put something like this. So here is the condition. So when first S dot 3 as int 0, then not profitable. Not stable, else profitable and right. From where this manage db dot external stages AWS stage selecting, and yeah, this got selected. Now the file format type CSV, skip header 1, order detail CSV. So this is the conditions you have created. You understood this condition? Hello? Hello?
Yeah, Deepesh.
Yes, Dipesh, yeah.
So when I just run this, line number 79, case when past as int, then not profitable from db external stages.
I think
yeah,
you need to add a comma on after the
yeah.
S dot
Before
$3.
case, before
Before
case
case.
one,
Case when, where?
before case when S
Before
dot
Before
dollar
case,
three.
comma, $3, comma after $3.
The select statement.
Just before case or after $3.
Okay, yeah, sorry. Here is the huh?
Vijay, you're talking to yourselves.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah. So you can see that we are able to,
Dipesh, what is error limit parameter or column?
this is if we consider error limit like when when it's failed to copy into case, error limit showing 0, but why it's showing 1? Because all the has been passed.
What does it mean by 1? Is there is an error?
Just a second. So I think, when we copy into command, so that option allow us to use a specific maximum number of error allowed here. That is by default error limit here. We can set the error limit, here, like when I'm running the command here, right? So when I'm just copying into here, I can set the error limit.
By default, it is 1.
Yeah.
What happens if it exceeds 1?
You can do that, in a target table, you can specific numbers of error allowed that you can error limit. I think 5 allows 5
My
up to
point
5.
is, let's say
Yeah.
by default the error limit is 1,
Hmm.
but while processing, it encode more than 1 error.
Hmm.
What does it do? It will skip the total execution, or it will partially execute the already processed records.
It will entire copy operation will fail. No rows will be loaded.
It will revert the previous data as well.
Correct. So if you want to log the error instead of failing the operation, we can use an on error option that's called error limit, like continue process. You can do that. It will fail the process. Yeah, so it has been taken up. Now let's use this just to print how it is showing us. Select from our first database, public orders. Okay, so you can see that. So if it is profitable, not profitable, everything is showing it to you as in data.
Where did you give this profit or underscore flag? That name?
Just name it whether it is profitable or not profitable.
You have to specify the flag, the name of the flag somewhere, right?
Yeah. I given here, no?
Okay, in this. Okay, got it.
Yeah, I have pasted into the chat. Please check all of you. And try using some transformation. I will give you, meanwhile you try, I'll give you some transformation today. Let me come back in 1 minute. You can do more stuff like auto increment kind of this thing, and maybe more on the top of it. Like in this itself, if I like auto increment values, if you want to put in certain thing, like this is your table. So we have taken this order ID in a it is number auto increment start 1 and increment 1. Yeah. So we can do then auto increment of the ID number, order ID number. That's an auto increment. Start one, increment of 1 amount, and this will remain same. So increment INCRE. Auto. Start. Yeah, and let's say if I just do something like copy into public, I can specify this here. That is called profit amount. Select S1 S3 from manage DB external stage file format. This what not copy?
See, when you select the command, the C is not selected, the initial letter.
Oh. Numeric value B25601 not.
Maybe instead of integer, can you use float?
Where?
Amount on profit, amount on profit.
What is this?
When you're selecting, right, you're actually selecting order ID and amount when you're doing that AWS stage and trying to pass it as profit and amount, like, from the select table. Can you switch that select from 2, 3, and then try to get that profit and amount? Like the columns that you're selecting from the staging are actually reflecting, I think somewhere it is reflecting the order ID and amount rather than amount and profit.
Order ID and profit. You want me to select order ID, right?
So order ID gets auto incremented in the select statement.
Yeah.
Dollar on
I
dollar
think
two.
first and second column. So it should be second and third is what was yesterday.
Order ID is into incremental. And here we have all the specific. So similarly, you can do multiple other transformation techniques also on the top of it. Like we have done this incremental auto increment. You can do the order ID and profit also. Instead of this, if I mention order ID and profit, okay, and I can take up that also. Okay, so that's something can be done. So multiple other stuff can be done, and similarly, you can actually drop the table, and where you can also select their order ID. Let's say here, I'm just so so all the analysis tasks can be done here. Yeah. So now what I want from you, I'm just